Hey guys, in this video I'm going to tell you about the time I was truly tricked by a Filipina. So much to the point that I ended up paying for an entire party for them. Stick around for the story. Alright guys, so first video since after the wedding here. Yeah, I'm all married, so that is yesterday's news. We are now moving forward. I'm truly happy. It took time, to find the right girl, and I've been in the Philippines 7 years, but the first 5 years it really was dating and little relationships and just kind of seeing who I was compatible with and who I wasn't. And it takes some time, even though I tell people who reach out and say, is it easy to meet a Filipina? Well, the short answer is yes. It's very easy to meet a girl, and it's very easy to never be alone on a weekend or a Friday night here. But to find the right girl, it still takes some time. You still have to find somebody that you're compatible with. You have share the same likes and dislikes, and somebody you've got chemistry with. That still takes time. So you may never have a problem with getting dates, but finding the right girl does take a little bit of time. Now sometimes you're lucky and people meet them on a dating site and then they come out here and it just sparks fly and it happens to be the right one. But not all of us are that lucky. So this story takes place literally within a couple of weeks of when I moved to the Philippines. Now, the first time I came to the Philippines was Davao 2015, I think September. I was there for a month. Now this takes place when I actually moved to the Philippines in around December 2016. So I had corresponded with the girl on a dating site, and we ended up meeting when I got here, and everything seemed good. The chemistry was okay. And she had told me, this was like maybe a week or two after I had arrived here, she had told me, hey, how would you like to meet my grandma? She lives out in the province. We're gonna have a little family get together, and we're gonna have like a pig roast, and we're gonna eat a bunch of food. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. I haven't been to the province yet, and I've never experienced a lechon, the pig roast here. And so I said, sure, yeah, why not? And she said, okay, well, we will come by and pick you up, me and my family, at 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. I can't remember, the next day. It was a weekend, so I wasn't working. And I said, okay, that sounds great. So I was still kind of a newbie at this point, and I actually would always carry around $10K in cash with me. It's just something that I did. And anyway, she had swung around and she picked me up 6 a.m. with her entire family. I think her mom, dad, her brothers, the entire gang was there. It was a big van. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, how do these guys afford this? How do they have a van and a driver, Well, I get into the van, and about 30 minutes into the ride, she leans over and tells me, hey, the van costs 5,000 or 6,000 pesos. I can't remember how much she said. And she's like, I'm gonna need some help paying it. And I said, okay, I figured, all right, well, I can chip in. Well, when she said I need some help paying it, what she really meant was pay the entire thing. Now, again, this may not have been entirely her. Her family might have pressured her into it, but she certainly could have told me about it ahead of time. And well, that's what happened. I ended up paying for the entire thing, 6K. I can't remember exactly the amount. So I'm already on the way there. It's all the way down south in Cebu. I think it's like Argao or something. And I'm already a bit annoyed now at this point. But I'm stuck in the van. We're already an hour into the drive going to South Cebu. We get to her grandma's place, and they have food. Everybody's preparing food. It's way up in the mountain in the province. No one around. The van ends up leaving, and I guess the van was just going to come back at a certain time. That's the way it had worked. So anyway, I'm there, basically stuck, right? And they're preparing food and rice and all this kind of stuff. And guess what? She comes to me again and she says, we have a lechon coming. It's going to be 5,000 pesos. Again, I'm not exactly sure on the price. It could have been 4,000, 4,500, 6,000. I'm not sure exactly. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, I've already paid for the van. I was like, I don't have much money left. And she's like, yeah, but we can't afford the lechon, and it's being delivered. It'll be here any minute. The guy's on the way. I'm already super annoyed about the van. And all her families are, I mean, there's like 20, 30 people there, and they're all looking at me. And I tell you what, if at that moment, if I would have had my, you flash forward to like today where I have my motorbike, if I had drove there, I would have been out of there. I would have just left. But I'm basically stuck. I'm stuck, and all these eyes are on me. And so, yeah, I ended up paying for it. Super annoyed, just completely annoyed, trying to put on the fake smile at this point. So I've now paid for the van, I've paid for the lechon, and I told her, I have 0 pesos left. I literally have like 200 pesos left or something. I said, I have nothing left. I said, I hope this is it, because I cannot help you with anything else. And she's like, no, we got the rest. And when she said the rest, I mean, basically they were making things like rice and some leche flan and some other desserts and stuff. But I was like, yeah, I was done. At this point, I had already said to myself, I said, this ain't gonna happen. And again, the girl looked like she was really uncomfortable with the whole situation. It was almost like her family was kind of telling her, like maybe she almost seemed like surprised as well. So I almost feel like she was blindsided with this too, but I still think that she could have found this out ahead of time, or at least gave me a heads up. So anyway, I suffered through this thing because I'm just annoyed, and I'm upset, I'm angry, trying to force the fake smile. I get through the entire day. I think it's like 3 p.m. now, and I literally been there all morning and all afternoon. Super uncomfortable situation for me. And we get back, and I text her immediately after. I said, I'm really upset about today. You blindsided me. You did not tell me about the van. You didn't tell me about the pig roast. You could have told me, and then I could have decided whether I wanted to help or go or contribute a certain amount or not. And I felt like I was just kind of used to have this family reunion around Christmas time and the pig roast, bring the foreigner along and he'll take care of everything, our transportation there and the lechon. And so at that point, she had promised she would never do it again. And she didn't. We dated for a little bit longer, but I ended up ending the relationship. It was very short term, just a couple of months, I think. And I look back and I said, how could have I avoided this situation? Well, when situations like this pop up, before it even you get to it, you need to really inquire, because sometimes Filipinos don't want to volunteer information. So I have since learned that you really need to be like, okay, how are we getting there? Are we taking a bus? Does one of your relatives have a car? And you really got to push to find out all the details, because they omit a lot of details sometimes. And if I would have pushed and said, okay, how are we getting there? And she might have said, well, we need to rent a van. I'm like, okay, now who is paying for the van? Is everybody chipping in? How much is it going to cost? You really have to kind of like push for answers. You got to ask a lot of questions. And then I would have said, okay, do we need to bring some food? Is food being provided? And I really would have just pushed and gotten answers, because if I would have did that, I could have kind of found out what was going on and then chose, okay, all right, I'll come, sure, yeah, I'll contribute this or I won't contribute that. And so if you find yourself in any kind of situation like this, really inquire, because a lot of times they hold back. They don't tell you all the information, and you got to push for it. So again, there are really good Filipinos out there, and there are some really bad ones. It's just like there are some good foreigners and there are some really bad foreigners. And just because you won't be alone on a Friday night here doesn't mean it's easy to find the right one. It still takes time, it still takes dating, And again, you could find yourself lucky and you could end up immediately meeting the right one, which happens for sure. So you guys can check out some dating sites that I recommend down below. And it's kind of overcast today. It looks like there's a typhoon coming in, and we might have about a week worth of rain or so according to the forecast. So we'll see what happens. But I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate all the thank yous and the well wishes from Maya and myself, our wedding. Appreciate all of the support and the just wonderful, great comments from everyone. So I appreciate that. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see everyone next time.